Something is happening beneath Nevada, and it is getting harder to ignore. Deep cracks are cutting through the desert floor in places that were once calm and still. They appear without warning, sometimes overnight, stretching for miles across dry and empty land. In some places, they reach roads, parking lots, and even neighborhoods on the edge of Las Vegas. At first glance, these cracks might look like random surface damage caused by shifting soil, but geologists say the patterns suggest something larger is happening below. Parts of Nevada sit on a massive fault zone that is slowly moving over time. This zone is called Walker Lane, and it carries a significant part of the pressure between two giant tectonic plates. It does not get as much attention as the San Andreas fault, but some scientists say it should. Nevada is also home to old volcanic fields that have not erupted in thousands of years. But even dormant volcanoes can cause surface changes without any lava or smoke. Ancient vents and pressure points may still be active in ways we do not fully understand. Could it have started in the shadow of Walker Lane, that long scar hidden beneath the desert? Could the sleeping volcanoes of Nevada be quietly waking up after centuries of silence? Or is this something deeper, something beyond what science can explain? In this video, we will uncover the mystery growing beneath Nevada and ask if it can still be stopped. Before we start, make sure to like this video and subscribe to our channel. And now, let's dive in. Earth fissures. Cracks in the Nevada desert are not just strange to look at. They are getting wider, deeper, and more unpredictable. Some of them stretch for hundreds of feet, carving through dry soil like a knife. Locals have found them on private land, next to irrigation ditches, and in places that had no damage just a few months earlier. These are not small surface breaks. They are full-scale ruptures that shift the ground and split entire parcels of land, often without warning. One crack near Mesquite was wide enough to fit the front wheel of a truck. Another, just outside Pahrump, had no clear starting point. It seemed to appear overnight, cutting across a dirt road and pulling parts of the shoulder down with it. Farmers nearby said the ground felt different lately, like it moved underfoot. Some even reported faint tremors at night that made walls creak and glasses rattle, though no earthquakes were officially recorded. They say it feels like the land is alive, reacting to something below. Experts say that these fissures often follow patterns of land subsidence. In areas where groundwater is pumped faster than it can be replaced, the soil begins to compress and sink. Over time, this pressure builds up and breaks the surface. Nevada has thousands of wells, and in some counties the water level has dropped by dozens of feet in just one generation. When the support beneath the ground disappears, the land begins to collapse slowly and unevenly. The result is stress along the surface, and that stress releases as deep ground fissures. But not all cracks follow the rules. Some appear far from active farmland or known well sites. Others form in solid rock or on undisturbed desert terrain. This has led to new questions about whether deeper fault lines or seismic pressure might be involved. In several areas, especially in Nye and Clark counties, fissures line up suspiciously well with mapped fault zones. Geologists are now rechecking their data, trying to figure out if these cracks are surface symptoms of something much larger moving underneath. Despite all of this, most officials remain silent. Local agencies give vague statements or none at all. Federal reports take years to publish and rarely warn the public. And yet the evidence is visible even from the sky. Passengers flying into Las Vegas have taken photos showing massive, jagged scars stretching for miles across the desert floor. These are not isolated events. They are multiplying. No one has a clear answer. But one thing is certain. The cracks are spreading faster than anyone expected. And Nevada's surface is no longer something we can take for granted. How long have you lived in Nevada? Have you seen any of these strange cracks yourself? Let us know in the comments. Our team needs your help. Subscribe to our channel to help more people learn the truth about current events. And now, we move on. Water crisis. The appearance of deep cracks in Nevada may be more than a geological problem. It may be a symptom of another, equally dangerous condition spreading across the state, a full-scale water crisis. Beneath the surface, something is disappearing, and it is leaving entire parts of Nevada unstable. Nevada has always lived with water scarcity. More than 80% of the state is classified as arid or semi-arid. Most regions receive less than 10 inches of rainfall per year. From the beginning, water has shaped everything in Nevada. It determines where cities grow, how farms survive, and what can be built. Las Vegas itself would not exist without massive water diversion systems from the Colorado River and underground wells. By the 1980s and 1990s, scientists began warning that Nevada's water use was exceeding its long-term supply. Growth in southern Nevada brought millions of people to one of the driest places in North America. Officials introduced restrictions, banned decorative lawns, and encouraged desert landscaping. But the core problem never changed. Nevada simply needs more water than nature provides. In the early 2000s, Lake Mead began to decline year after year. At the same time, groundwater pumping increased across the state. In valleys like Pahrump and Amargosa, wells went deeper while the water table dropped lower. As aquifers collapsed, the land above them started to shift. That is when the cracks appeared. First small, then massive. Today, the crisis is visible. Southern Nevada is under an official federal water shortage declaration. Cities like Las Vegas, North Las Vegas, and Henderson face mandatory restrictions. Sprinkler use is limited to certain hours and days. Decorative lawns have been banned in new developments. Water patrols monitor neighborhoods. Violations bring fines. In some areas, residents can only water their plants once or twice a week. In rural parts of Nye County, including Pahrump, wells run dry with no warning. Many homeowners are forced to drill deeper or pay for water to be trucked in. In Amargosa Valley, farmland is being abandoned because irrigation is no longer possible. Entire stretches of soil have turned to dust. Local officials say some aquifers may never recover. Northern Nevada is also at risk. In places like Elko and White Pine County, creeks dry up weeks earlier than they used to. Livestock ponds vanish by midsummer. Ranchers report that the landscape they grew up with no longer behaves the same way. The water is leaving, and no one knows when it will return. Nevada is not a distant country with no infrastructure, but in more and more places, it is starting to feel like one. Shortages are real. The danger is growing, and what lies ahead may be even worse than what we see now. Do you believe Nevada is heading toward a full-blown water emergency? Tell us what you see happening in your town. Now please take a moment to hit that like button. It's a small action, but it helps YouTube's algorithm promote our videos to a wider audience. California won't cut. The water crisis in Nevada is being made worse by actions beyond its borders. While the state imposes conservation rules, limits outdoor watering, and watches water levels collapse, California continues to draw more from the Colorado River than any other state. And despite years of warning signs, it refuses to reduce its share. The Colorado River is one of the most important waterways in North America. It stretches for about 1,250 miles, flowing from the Rocky Mountains of Colorado down to the Gulf of California. Along the way, it supports over 40 million people and irrigates more than 5 million acres of farmland. Cities, industries, and entire states rely on it for survival. But today, its water is being consumed faster than it can be replenished. The river serves 7 western states through an agreement known as the Colorado River Compact. These states include Nevada, Arizona, California, Utah, Colorado, New Mexico, and Wyoming. California holds the largest legal allocation of water. Nevada holds the smallest. Alaska is not part of this system and does not use Colorado River resources. Nevada receives just 300,000 acre-feet of water annually. California receives over 4 million. That amount is more than 13 times what Nevada is allowed to use. In times of shortage, Nevada has repeatedly accepted additional cuts and stricter limits. California, on the other hand, insists that its full share must remain untouched. Federal officials have called for voluntary reductions as Lake Mead drops to critical levels. Nevada responded with immediate restrictions. Arizona followed suit. California refused. Water authorities in that state argued that agriculture and cities depend too heavily on their current allocation. They claimed that others should sacrifice first. The consequences are plain. Residents in southern Nevada follow strict rules. Lawns are removed. Sprinklers run on timers. Fines are issued for using water outside designated hours. At the same time, vast agricultural operations in California continue to flood fields of alfalfa and cotton. In the Imperial Valley, water from the Colorado River supports crops that are shipped overseas, while Nevadans are told to ration. This double standard is fueling resentment. The smallest water user is asked to do the most. The largest water consumer refuses to compromise. California receives the lion's share of the resource and offers little in return. Nevada's conservation efforts are undermined by a neighboring state that continues business as usual. Calls for reform are growing louder. Federal intervention may become necessary if cooperative efforts fail. But for now, the imbalance remains. California consumes. Nevada adapts. One state preserves, the other resists. Should California be forced to cut its water use like everyone else? Share your opinion in the comments. Share this video on X to help us grow. Every share counts. Hidden fault line. Some of the cracks appearing in the Nevada desert are not caused by drought or subsidence alone. In several areas, the ground is splitting in ways that suggest deeper forces at work. Scientists believe that part of the problem may lie far beneath the surface in a vast and shifting fault system called Walker Lane. Walker Lane is a major geologic zone that runs roughly parallel to the more famous San Andreas fault. It stretches more than 600 miles from the California border near Death Valley up through western Nevada and into the northern regions of the state. Although it is less known to the public, geologists say it may eventually carry much of the tectonic movement between the Pacific and North American plates. Unlike a single break in the crust, Walker Lane is a broad zone made up of many smaller faults. It runs near Reno, Carson City, and Hawthorne, and also connects to seismic zones closer to Las Vegas. This system is not inactive. It has produced earthquakes in the past, including a magnitude 6.5 event near Tonopah in 2020. Many of its faults are classified as active, and pressure continues to build beneath them. Some of the surface fissures seen in Nevada may follow the outlines of these hidden fault zones. In places like Nye County and parts of Clark County, cracks in the land seem to align with known faults mapped by the U.S. Geological Survey. These breaks do not appear randomly. They may reflect movement deep in the earth that has not yet surfaced as a full earthquake. What makes Walker Lane more dangerous is the way it moves. Unlike the San Andreas fault, which shifts in powerful bursts, Walker Lane distributes its energy slowly over time. That gradual movement stretches the ground, weakens the crust, and makes it more vulnerable to cracking. When combined with drought and subsiding aquifers, the risk of surface failure increases. The interaction between tectonic pressure and human activity is a growing concern. Some scientists warn that groundwater extraction near fault zones could raise the risk of surface collapse or small quakes. In Nevada, much of the land is already fractured and dry. Even a minor shift in the subsurface can produce visible damage on the surface. Agencies have mapped hundreds of faults across Nevada, but the public rarely hears about them. Roads, homes, and pipelines have been built across these zones with little long-term planning. As the crust continues to respond to pressure, the damage may not come in a single disaster but through a series of slow and spreading cracks. Nevada does not sit directly on the San Andreas fault, but it is not safe from seismic threats. The land beneath is under constant stress, and the cracks now forming on the surface could be just the beginning. Do you believe Nevada's fault system could be more active than officials admit? Share your thoughts in the comments. Vegas overconsumes. Some of the cracks appearing in the ground around southern Nevada are forming near the fastest-growing city in the state. Las Vegas has long been seen as a symbol of excess, but now its water use is starting to break the land around it. While other towns in the southwest cut back, Las Vegas keeps growing, building new homes, casinos, and lawns in the middle of the desert. The city began to grow rapidly in the 1930s, around the same time the Hoover Dam was built. Already then, experts warned that building a major city in the middle of one of the driest regions in North America would come with serious risks. Las Vegas was surrounded by desert, had little rainfall, and relied almost entirely on a single outside source of water. But the promise of jobs, tourism, and entertainment was too tempting. Construction boomed and never really stopped. Las Vegas receives less than 5 inches of rain per year. It depends almost entirely on Lake Mead for its water supply. But as that reservoir drops to record lows, Las Vegas continues to expand. Every new subdivision needs pipes, pools, and green spaces. Every hotel on the Strip uses massive amounts of water for fountains, shows, and luxury amenities. Officials have introduced some conservation rules in recent years. Decorative grass has been banned in many places. New homes cannot have thirsty front lawns. But these changes arrived late. For decades, Las Vegas promoted a lifestyle built on artificial lakes and lush landscaping. Now, that illusion is cracking. Water use per person in Las Vegas has dropped over time, but the population keeps rising. The gains from conservation are being canceled out by the sheer number of new residents. Between 2000 and 2020, The metro area added more than 800,000 people. That growth puts more pressure on already fragile resources. Even more troubling is the fact that development has continued on land already showing signs of instability. As groundwater drops, the earth begins to shift and sink. In some neighborhoods, roads and sidewalks have cracked. In others, homes have suffered foundation damage. These are not just surface problems. They are warnings. Some geologists believe that the combination of heavy water extraction and rapid construction may be triggering new fissures. When the soil dries out and loses support, it can collapse inward, creating visible breaks in the land. The more that Las Vegas grows, the more likely it becomes that these problems will spread. Local leaders often point to conservation wins. They highlight recycled water programs and low-flow fixtures, but few want to confront the bigger question. Can a desert city keep growing forever? And if not, where is the line? The cracks now visible near Las Vegas are not just physical. They represent the growing divide between reality and ambition. A city built on impossible dreams is now running out of the one resource it cannot replace. Do you think Las Vegas is taking too much from the land around it? Let us know in the comments. Sleeping volcanoes. The ground cracks forming across Nevada may have more than one cause. Some scientists believe that deep under this fractured state lies another danger. Nevada is not just a place of earthquakes and drought. It is also home to dozens of ancient volcanoes, most of them quiet, but not all completely dead. Many people think of volcanoes as dramatic mountains that erupt in fire and ash. But in Nevada, the volcanic past is buried beneath desert dust. The state has several large volcanic fields, including Lunar Crater, the Reveille Range, and the Black Rock Desert. These areas once erupted with force and left behind scars still visible today. Though the last major eruption in Nevada happened thousands of years ago, the ground here is not entirely silent. The state sits near the edge of the Basin and Range Province, a vast stretch of land shaped by pulling forces deep in the earth. This stretching makes the crust thinner and allows magma to rise more easily. In several parts of Nevada, including near Tonopah and northern Nye County, signs of geothermal heat are still strong. Scientists monitor geothermal zones for more than just energy potential. High heat flow can indicate areas where magma is still close to the surface. Even if there are no eruptions, this heat can weaken the rock and make it more prone to cracking. Combined with drought and aquifer loss, the crust becomes fragile. That makes Nevada's land more vulnerable to shifts and fissures. The biggest concern is not a sudden eruption, but a slow build of pressure underground. Small quakes, gas releases, or ground uplift can signal that something is changing. In Nevada, a few locations have shown such signs in the past decades. While no warnings have been issued, the data is not always shared widely. Many officials do not treat ancient volcanoes as an urgent issue, but history shows they should not be ignored. Volcanoes can sleep for thousands of years before waking up again. In the American West, scientists once believed Yellowstone was dormant. Then they discovered ground uplift, hydrothermal shifts, and underground pressure that changed the view. Nevada may be in a similar situation. Its volcanic fields have been quiet, but they have not been declared extinct. If the land is cracking, shifting, and sinking, could it be a symptom of something deeper? Could old volcanic systems be quietly reshaping the desert from below? The state may not be on the same radar as Hawaii or Washington, but that does not mean it is safe. As Nevada dries, drills, and expands, the earth may start to respond. Whether through quakes, heat flow, or fresh surface cracks, the desert could be revealing a long-buried past that is not quite finished. Do you think Nevada's volcanic history could still pose a risk today? Tell us what you think in the comments. Lake Mead collapse. Cracks in the Nevada desert are not forming in isolation. Many are appearing near the southern edge of the state, close to the shrinking body of Lake Mead. This once mighty reservoir has become a symbol of how much the West depends on water storage and how fragile that balance has become. Lake Mead was created in the 1930s through the construction of Hoover Dam. For decades, it held the title of the largest reservoir in the United States. It supplied water to millions of people across Nevada, Arizona, California, and even into northern Mexico. Without Lake Mead, cities like Las Vegas could never have grown the way they did. But over the past 2 decades, water levels in the lake have dropped alarmingly. This has not been due to one single cause. Experts say it is the result of a combination of long-term drought, rising demand, and outdated management rules. Some believe it reflects a natural dry phase in the region's climate cycle, which could still shift again. From the air, Lake Mead looks like a ghost of its former self. Pale rings on the rocky sides mark how high the water once stood. Docks and marinas have been abandoned. Islands have emerged from what used to be deep water. Entire coves are now dry. This matters especially for Nevada. Las Vegas and its surrounding communities rely on Lake Mead for nearly all of their water. As the lake drops, the pressure mounts. Even if the changes are part of a temporary cycle, officials must respond as if the supply will not bounce back anytime soon. Federal authorities have already declared water shortages along the Colorado River, which feeds Lake Mead. Nevada has been required to take deep cuts in its allocation, yet the numbers keep falling. Some worry that if levels drop much more, the lake could reach dead pool, where water can no longer pass through Hoover Dam. The impact is not just seen in the reservoir. Around it, the land itself is changing. Some areas near the shoreline are beginning to shift or sink. This may be due to the loss of water weight, changing pressure in the subsurface, or simply dried out soil collapsing inward. Whatever the reason, the cracks are spreading. What was once viewed as a triumph of engineering is now a cautionary tale. For years, people believed Lake Mead could shield the Southwest from water problems, but no system can survive unlimited demand in a naturally dry region. Rain and snowmelt may still bring recovery in future years. Weather patterns have changed before, and they may change again, but betting on luck is no longer enough. The cracks forming near Lake Mead could be the ground's way of reminding us that even the biggest reservoirs have limits. Do you think Lake Mead can still recover in the coming years? Or has the damage already gone too far? Share your opinion in the comments. Big Ag drains it. The deep cracks forming in Nevada's deserts are not just the result of weather or time. They are part of a larger story, one tied to how water is used beneath the surface. And a huge part of that story begins on farmland. While homes and cities are often blamed for high water use, agriculture is by far the thirstiest industry in the state. In Nevada, over 75% of all water goes to farms. Many of these farms grow alfalfa, a crop not for local consumption but for export. This thirsty plant needs massive amounts of irrigation, yet it is being cultivated right in the middle of the desert. Rows of bright green stretch across brown landscapes, fed by groundwater pumped from deep below. Some of the fields supplying this alfalfa are located in the driest counties of Nevada. The hay they produce is packed up and shipped overseas, especially to countries like China and Saudi Arabia. These nations lack the land or water to grow their own feed, so they import it from places like Nevada. But the water does not travel with the crop. It stays behind, depleted and unreplaced. This has caused growing concern among residents and experts. When you export alfalfa from Nevada, you are essentially exporting the state's water. And once groundwater is pumped out, it can take centuries to return. The more that is taken, the more the land begins to settle. That settling causes shifts, collapses, and fissures in the earth. Some farming areas in Nevada have already seen land subsidence. The ground has literally sunk several feet in places. These changes are invisible at first, but over time they lead to cracked roads, warped irrigation lines, and damaged infrastructure. In some parts of the state, wells have had to be drilled deeper and deeper just to reach what's left of the aquifers. Critics argue that water-intensive farming makes no sense in a desert state like Nevada. They question why crops that do not feed local people are prioritized over long-term water stability. Others point to outdated water laws that allow farmers to use more than their share, just to avoid losing future rights. Still, the fields remain. Alfalfa is profitable, export contracts are strong, and water keeps flowing to farms that should never have existed in this terrain to begin with. Meanwhile, the land grows weaker, and the cracks grow wider. Nevada now faces a choice. Should it protect its remaining water for its people, or continue to feed the world at its own expense? Do you think exporting crops like alfalfa is worth the cost to Nevada's land and water? Tell us what you think in the comments. Mining fallout. Some of the deepest and widest cracks in Nevada's land are forming near old and active mining zones. These are not random patterns in the desert. They often appear where the earth has been heavily disturbed over time. Nevada's connection to mining runs deep. The state's very identity was shaped by what lies underground. It all began in the mid-1800s, when silver and gold were discovered in the western ranges. The famous Comstock Lode launched a wave of prospectors, bringing wealth and chaos to places like Virginia City. Mining camps turned into towns, and Nevada soon earned the nickname the Silver State. By the late 19th century, large-scale extraction had begun reshaping the landscape. Over time, mining shifted from precious metals to industrial minerals. Today, Nevada is the nation's top producer of gold and a rising global supplier of lithium. Lithium is vital for rechargeable batteries used in everything from electric vehicles to power grids. That demand has made the Nevada desert a new frontier for global resource competition. To extract these minerals, vast amounts of rock and earth are blasted, moved, and processed. Deep pits are carved into the desert floor. Entire hillsides are reshaped. Underground tunnels stretch for miles. And in many cases, groundwater is pumped out to keep the mines dry, lowering the water table and weakening the surrounding soil. Some of the cracking seen today may be linked to this underground disruption. When support structures are removed or the earth is over-extracted, the land can shift or collapse. Subsidence has already been recorded near certain open-pit mines. Roads buckle, fences tilt, cracks radiate outward like warning signs. In addition to structural instability, mining also carries chemical risks. Tailings piles and evaporation ponds can leak harmful substances into nearby soil and water. Some residents fear long-term contamination from arsenic or heavy metals, especially in areas with weak oversight. While these issues are usually labeled as minor by officials, the scars on the landscape are hard to ignore. There is also a growing tension between local communities and outside corporations. Many of the companies extracting Nevada's resources are based elsewhere. The profits leave the state, but the damage remains. Towns located near major operations often report increased dust, noise, and infrastructure strain, yet their concerns are rarely reflected in national headlines. Supporters argue that mining is essential for the economy and for national security. Lithium in particular is seen as a strategic resource, but critics say the extraction rush is moving too fast, without proper attention to long-term environmental costs. In a state already battling water loss and ground instability, adding another pressure point may be a gamble too far. As more mining permits are approved, one question becomes unavoidable. Can Nevada keep digging without breaking apart? Should Nevada slow down its mining operations to protect its land? Or is the payoff worth the risk? Share your thoughts in the comments. What can be done? The ground is cracking open across Nevada, but the situation is not hopeless. Across the United States and around the world, regions facing similar threats have started to respond. The real question is what actions can still be taken before Nevada reaches the point of no return. Water management needs a fundamental reset. Some western states are already updating their water rights systems. In Arizona, officials are restricting new construction unless developers prove long-term water access. In parts of Texas, communities have installed metered irrigation systems to slow down aquifer depletion. These changes are not perfect, but they show what can be done with the right pressure and planning. Other countries provide even stronger examples. Israel leads the world in water recycling, reusing nearly 90% of its wastewater for agriculture. Singapore has built large-scale desalination plants that turn seawater into drinking water. While Nevada lacks ocean access, similar strategies may still apply. According to experts, Nevada holds significant deposits of brackish groundwater. This type of water is not drinkable in its natural state, but it is easier and cheaper to desalinate than seawater. It can be used for farming or industry, freeing up clean water for homes. Some researchers suggest combining solar power with desalination to lower costs and reduce environmental risks. These systems could give Nevada a new tool for survival without needing direct access to the ocean. California has already begun experimenting with this approach. Massive plants in Carlsbad and Dana Point now supply desalinated seawater to parts of Southern California. The state has also expanded its treatment of brackish water and planned to generate over 80,000 acre-feet per year by 2040. At one point, there were discussions about sharing desalinated water with other states. Though no pipeline has been built yet, the concept shows how shared infrastructure could support the entire region. Land management is just as important. Earth fissures do not form randomly. When groundwater is overdrawn, or when the land is weakened by mining and construction, the surface begins to shift. Other states like California have started mapping subsidence zones and restricting development in unstable areas. Nevada has the tools and the data to do the same. The question is whether officials will take responsibility before it is too late. Nevada still has a chance to choose a different path. The state does not need to pick between growth and survival. But ignoring the problem will only deepen it. The cracks are getting wider, the water is running out, and the pressure is building fast. What solutions do you think could work for Nevada? What would you change first? Share your thoughts in the comments. Thank you for exploring the hidden corners of Nevada with us. Click on the video you see on the screen to check out other hidden discoveries on our channel.